With football fever gripping the globe, we could talk about FIFA.
Qatar!
But today, no, we're going to focus on the effects of Brexit and the beautiful game in the UK. In football in the UK, it's rare to find a united front, but Brexit has done just that. The landscape of transfers in England has massively changed. With the news that ex-Chelsea boss Tuchel and his family have to leave due to Brexit, I can see this combined with the extreme results-based business of the Premier League. It could start to put world-class managers off from coming to the UK. Tuchel was dismissed by the Blues in September, and the fact he was not placed on gardening leave means his visa will expire next month. The 49-year-old is settled in Surrey with his family, but because of Brexit, Tuchel has no choice but to leave and apparently plans to return to Munich. As you can imagine, with a family and kids and moving to a new country, it's quite important that the children have some sort of ability to settle. And with the possibility of being sacked in a very short space of time, I definitely can see that being a key reason to putting off managers with families and kids. Interestingly, Premier League clubs are united in the belief post-Brexit signing system is bad for business. Oppose the rules they have been asked to play by since the United Kingdom formally departed the European Union on December 31st, 2020, and now seek change. The common consensus among top-flight clubs is the current rules inhibit, restrict, and drive up prices. They are, in short, bad for business. Brexit's new employment terms will have a massive effect too. So, Premier League clubs now cannot sign under 18 foreign players. They can also only sign 3 foreign under 21 players per window, and all foreign players will have to go through a points-based system. You have to get points for things you've done. For example, if you represent your country, then come on in. But only if you featured in over half of their international games over the past 2 years, and only if they're from a country that are particularly good at football. You have to achieve 15 points to get a GBE, then you can get signed by a British club. I'm not sure what GBE stands for either. EU players will also have to go through the same work permit hurdles that non-EU players already had to do. You may or may not remember a player by the name of Robert Huth, but he's an interesting character and we're going to have a quote in a minute. But with Chelsea, he won the Premier League twice, he was an FA Cup runner-up, and he came back in 2015-16 to win the Premier League with Leicester City. On top of that, he got 3rd place at the World Cup and the Confederations Cup. Quite an accolade. Have a listen to this. By taking away options for young players to develop in one of the most important football nations in the world, you're taking away options and opportunities for them. It's bad for the game. Robert Huth's characteristics, for example, weren't really valued very highly in Germany at the time, but as a tall and very physical player, he was perfect for English football. Now that route is cut off for them at a critical time of their development. This is football player Paul Ince, who had an interesting history in terms of moving from Manchester United over to Italy to Inter Milan, and this is what he had to say about being able to transfer over, which under this current system and regulation, he probably wouldn't have been able to do.
You know, learning a different language, learning a different culture, and I was happy where I was staying. Looking back on it, it was probably the best move I ever did. You know, it probably was the best football I ever played. Macca would tell you, you know, the food they eat, the weather, everything about it, the football, it made me a better player, but it made me fitter, stronger, made me more of a man. You have to grow up quickly when you go abroad, and I think, you know, for these young kids now, you know, they have to grow up quickly.
The ability to go abroad, to adapt, to learn, to grow, to build confidence, to show you can actually do it on your own. And also, your body type, your playing style might be better adapted elsewhere. All of that has been taken away from all of those players that could potentially do that within the UK, all because of Brexit. Analytics FC, the football strategy and analyst specialist, worked with immigration law firm Fragoman to produce the independent study titled Brexit Ball, released this week, and among their findings was 92% reduction in the player market in pre- and post-Brexit times. It's estimated 60,000 professional footballers used to have the right to play football in the UK prior to Brexit, but overnight that figure plummeted to fewer than 5,000 players, and would likely have automatically gained a GBE this summer had they been targeted by British clubs, essentially reducing the competitivity of the Premier League as well as the other leagues. However, one thing that I had hoped to see would be that youth would be able to get more opportunities within the Premier League, and yet that hasn't happened. In fact, it's actually gone down. So, there were 206 English players in the 2018-19 Premier League season, and in 2021-22, there were 273, so we've got an increase in the Premier League. But this wasn't the good news we were hoping for. According to Analytics FC, there was a decrease in the number of minutes played from 277,000 minutes in the 2021 season, and it reduced to 253,000 in the 21-22 season. So it then begs the question, what's going on? Because surely if there's a smaller talent pool from outside of the rest of the world, we should be able to promote English players. Why are the English players that are being brought into the Premier League not getting the extra minutes that they deserve? It's almost counterintuitive to what we were expecting with the result of Brexit and football. The new Brexit rules have meant that scouting in the EU has become that much harder, with scouts unable to attend the same amount of live games as before due to work visa restrictions. Clubs have now cut recruitment by almost 50%, with most of the biggest changes coming in their European operation. So what does it mean? Well, the likes of younger Paul Pogba, Salah, Lukaku, PK, Fabregas wouldn't have been able to join the academies here in England. It'll also mean that only the really top English teams can sign foreign players. A player who's played over 50% of the international games in the past 2 years for a FIFA top 10 ranked nation aren't going to sign for Accrington Stanley, are they?
Milk! Ugh! It's what Ian Rush drinks. Ian Rush? Yeah, and he said if I didn't drink lots of milk, when I grow up, I'm going to be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley.
No offence to you, Accrington, but no, they're not. Surely this will lead to an expanding gap between the top Premier League clubs and everyone else. Literally, no one wants that. It also means the Championship, which has been a great breeding ground for young foreign talent, which seriously struggle to sign any foreign players again. The likes of N'Golo Kante, Neil Maupay, Said Benrahma and Ruben Neves. Literally, just to name a few off the top of my head, that would never have got their chance in England. All in all, we could expect the Premier League clubs to still be spending money at a crazy rate. We can also suspect that some of that money will stay in England though. A lot of top clubs will be desperate for English talent. You can expect less lowly Premier League and upper Championship clubs to spend wedges on foreign imports too. Young talents in League 1 and 2 might go up the pyramid due to the Brexit changes, but also might not because of the financial issues of buying the potential players. Whatever happens, it doesn't look like the leagues and the Premiership are going to be predictable, and unfortunately it might even give off the feeling that we might be in our peak and soon to head in the same sort of direction as Serie A. All in all, this is somewhat concerning considering this was meant to be a Brexit benefit that I thought was a genuine one. But of course, no. With many things with Brexit, it doesn't seem that there are. Some of you might also be asking who are you to come out and make some judgment about football. Well, I've worked within the business for 12 years, I'm UEFA B qualified, and I've worked in the United States, the UK and Brazil. So I'd like to think I've picked up a few things about the youth academy system over here and what's best for it. But on that note, thank you very much for listening. Please hit that like button and a big thank you to all of my YouTube supporters and members. You keep this channel growing and going. And if you enjoyed this video, check out my other channel on football, X Football. Thanks for listening and bye for now.